It's my heart good to see that this is so well cared for.
Even with her feet planted firmly in the present.
This is grave 190. This is Charles Hardin of New Jersey.
Linda Cook,
Enoch Norris of New York.
feels the constant pull of the past.
O.A. Andrews, Michigan Volunteers.
You'll often find the woman from Charles City County
They're from all across the country.
exploring historic cemeteries and battlefields.
We're at Malvern Hill. This is the Union line of artillery.
Landmarks practically right outside of her back door.
For me, it makes it real. It makes it alive.
When Linda is not studying landscapes in person,
This is the battle map.
she pores over manuscripts and memoirs from another era.
It's even better than reading a good novel.
The history buff's favorite subject?
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Civil War clashes, which raged near her home.
Battle Cry of Freedom, various research materials.
The professional title examiner possesses a detective's knack for discovering the smallest of details.
This is where you get the side stories, the human life stories.
Recently, while researching the 1864 Battle of Jones Bridge,
It was right here on the ground we're walking on.
Linda uncovers a mistake that for decades haunted a family from the Midwest.
The battles were intense. The casualties were just unbelievable.
During the fighting, a private named Uriah Scott would eventually meet his fate.
It was the 28th Indiana United States Colored Troops, USCT.
The Union soldier was buried on a nearby farm more than 600 miles from home.
He was wounded June the 23rd. He died June the 25th, 1864.
Uriah was just 16 years of age.
It just pulls at your heartstrings that somebody that young was involved in that conflict and gave his life.
Linda says what happened years after the young soldier's death made the episode even more heartbreaking.
She was one of so many mothers.
Linda uncovers letters from Uriah's mother, Sarah, who never knew what became of her youngest of 3 sons who served.
In looking at her inquiries to the War Department and just being a mother myself, I can imagine if I had a lost child and I did not know where to look, it would be agony for me.
When Linda visited Glendale National Cemetery, her heart sinks further.
The soldier is misidentified.
At Uriah's gravesite, the name engraved on his granite marker is wrong.
I have looked at the muster records. There was no Robert Scott ever.
The amateur historian has documents backing her findings.
I personally am 100% convinced. I invite anybody to look at the records, and I think you'll come to the same conclusion.
Linda doesn't fault the crews who shouldered the responsibility of collecting and reburying tens of thousands of soldiers following the Civil War.
Unbelievable task. Unbelievable. The fact that we have any of it right is remarkable.
Now the researcher is embarking on a 21st century mission to right a 19th century wrong.
The Veterans Administration acknowledges this is the grave of Uriah.
She is urging the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, which oversees national cemeteries, to update or replace Uriah's marker.
All of the Civil War graves are reinterments.
Her repeated inquiries haven't been answered, but she remains undeterred.
I can't let it rest. I feel compelled to take the steps.
Linda is driven by the thought of a fallen soldier and the family he left behind.
Her story, Uriah's story, is worth remembering. They're real people with real lives, real stories.
Linda Cook, a researcher.
I'd like to see that corrected, and that has just become a burning passion with me.
Determined to literally rewrite history etched in stone.
It is just correcting an era that needs correcting.
All in the name of a soldier who will forever be 16 years old.
I think it's a small thing that we could do to acknowledge all that he gave at such a young age.
For I Have a Story.
As long as it takes. Yeah, as long as it takes.
I'm Greg McQuaid.
I owe that to his mother.
CBS 6 News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for coming out for today.
Graveside services at military cemeteries.
We all know why we're here, to honor someone that served with pride.
We have watched plenty in the past.
Thank you for your service and sacrifice to form a more perfect union.
But this ceremony in Henrico's Glendale National Cemetery has been 160 years in the making.
It has probably been roughly 3 years. It was just about this time.
On this day, Linda Cook, who lives 1 mile from the landmark, is beaming with pride. Since 2021, the amateur historian has been on a mission to correct an honest mistake from the Civil War that's just 5 letters long.
Each person that sacrifices for their country deserves to be remembered in their rightful name.
I featured Miss Cook in July. Last summer, the professional title researcher shared how she became linked to a soldier from long ago.
I have come so close with his record and his story that I fondly call him Uriah, and I consider him an adopted son.
Uriah Scott, with the 28th Indiana United States Colored Troops, died from wounds during the Battle of Jones Bridge in 1864. Linda says Uriah was just 16 years old. But during the Civil War buff's research, she found that Uriah was buried under a different name.
The headstone for Uriah carried the wrong name. They carried his first name as Robert. And by my research, that is not correct.
Coincidentally, 2 professional historians, Jimmy Price and Mike Gorman with Richmond National Battlefield Park, also discovered the 19th century mix-up.
Well, in the case of Uriah Scott, the United States Colored Troops were sort of fulfilling the promise of the Emancipation Proclamation.
And it's really an act on the part of the United States writ large to say you mattered. Far away from home, maybe, unfortunately, without your name anymore. But this mattered to us.
After our story aired, Linda says word filtered up to the National Cemetery Association.
If not me, and not now, when? The longer time goes, the less likely that would have been noticed.
Which brings us to this gravesite ceremony at Glendale.
I was totally committed to the project. It was just something I felt like I had to do.
And at this time, we'll go ahead and unveil Uriah Scott's headstone.
The unveiling of a new stone among the thousands of ancient markers dedicated to the fallen.
This may be small to some people, but this is very big. We want to make sure that everybody that is enshrined in the National Cemetery is taken care of.
Linda Cook and all involved say the effort was worth the toiling and time.
Yes, that was very fulfilling. It was something I had hoped for so long and seemed so distant at times.
Whenever I'm in here now, I'll see that. And generations, even unborn, will see that and be able to have that story. And it touches me very deeply.
It may be just 5 letters, but after a century and a half, Uriah Scott's legacy is finally secure, etched in stone forever.
I salute you with my hand over my heart, Private Scott. Rest in peace. You are remembered and honored today and every day.
Uriah Scott is one of 1,192 Union soldiers from the Civil War buried here at Glendale National Cemetery. If you would like to pay your respects, the cemetery on Willis Church Road is open from sunrise to sunset. For I Have a Story, I'm Greg McQuaid, CBS 6 News.